guys. I'm going to start today with confessions.
Yes.
When you are on trial.
Yes.
And the opposing attorney says, "Do you admit to stealing the cucumber from the grocery store?"
Uh-huh.
And you say, "Yes, I admit. I was hungry. I needed a refreshing, crunchy treat." That's a confession. You're coming clean about something that you did wrong.
Oh, I see. I thought that's what you were confessing.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry. I got confused.
No, I was giving an example first.
Good.
And now I'm going to confess various things. One, I decided to go on an invigorating jog a little bit too soon to the start time of this show. And therefore I'm still sweating. I did take a shower.
Yes,
but
stop touching me
but
because
I'm still
so
sweating.
Grossly sweaty, you guys.
It's not grossly sweating. It's just lightly sweating. It's almost just
yes, you're lucky he's not like pouring sweat like he usually does after a run.
I took a cold shower to lower my core temperature accordingly. But anyway. This is more information than you need. The other thing I'd like to confess: no agenda. Didn't make one.
Wow.
Didn't even think about it until now. It would be nice to have an agenda, but we don't have one.
We don't have one.
We are like someone who, all right, have you guys seen Top Gun with Tom Cruise?
No, nobody's seen that.
It's like you're in the plane flying, but you have a mask on, and somebody painted the dashboard black, and you're just flying around. And you don't know what's going on, and you hope that it all goes well. That's what's happening right now. I don't know what to do.
I mean, usually Fridays are supposed to be a free-for-all, right?
Question.
Yeah.
Do we drink water at the beginning of the show sometimes?
Sometimes.
All right, but I'm not going to do... Look. See the color of this water? This is an electrolyte replenishing beverage that's going to fill my body with life-sustaining goodness. I'm not going to drink it fast. I'm going to enjoy it.
It's basically like a Gatorade.
A homemade Gatorade in powdered form. It's delicious. I love it. Oh,
you're so.
I got
so
it.
Gross.
I got it on my nose.
Did you see the sweat drip off
No.
Matthew
That
onto
wasn't
my lap?
sweat. That was my beverage splashed up and hit me in the face.
I feel better about it then.
I had a beverage malfunction. Guys, I'm a real mess. All right, I think we also listened to a theme song. We could push one of your monkey buttons or
The Robbie and Matthew Show.
That says back there, you guys can also take an eye test,
guys,
by seeing whether you can read that or not. And if you can't, you need to get glasses.
One of the reasons I'm a little bit flustered today is that we spent the morning recording a television program, a segment for BronxNet TV, which is I believe a public access television show in the Bronx in New York. So we talked about creativity. We talked about our book Everywhere Wonder. We did an activity.
At some point it's also going to be online. So if you guys actually ever want to watch it, we will put a link somewhere.
If they want to watch it, they're just sad they can't watch it right now.
It's just it's.
May I request?
Yes.
That we move promptly from this.
Stop touching me,
Robbie. If you want to move that way a little bit, you can. But that is a personal decision. I'm in my proper space on the show. You just entered my space.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Robbie's ever going to let me run at noon again.
No.
It's not the best time to run.
We should maybe just have long sleeve shirts on.
Would you like to do the show by yourself today? I could go take a long, relaxing nap. I could take another shower. Guys, I think we should...
I just did a silent burp.
But I didn't point it out. But to your credit, you did point it out.
I did. I was confessing.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Before we begin the research, would you like to share your painting? Or would you like to do the...
Okay, so I want to remind you where we started out. So if we look down here, that's the sort of sketch drawing that I did, remember? And there was some debate about...
On the computer. That's all computerized.
Yeah, this is all computerized. Yeah. So the debate about whether we put the moon down there, or... Anyway, this is just a quick kind of messy sketch.
And up close, I can tell that it's on the computer.
Yeah, right? And that it's sloppy. It was just a quick sketch. Okay, so that's where we started. Then we went to here, right? Do you guys remember watching me paint this?
I do.
Yeah, and so you might notice, I gotta bring it all the way up so that you guys can... My white fingers are throwing off the color balance on here, so it's having trouble. Anyway, so what I noticed here was that I should have left some more black spaces along the edges here so that the shadows, like here on the jetpack, I like how that black shadow is so stark. It really makes it pop a lot. But I didn't leave shadows on the spacesuit or anything like that. I also didn't leave a place to put any details on the spacesuit. So what I did was I started over again. So here's the one.
I don't want to touch
Matthew can't touch anything. Here's what I did.
Oh, I love it.
And you can see, because I left those black areas, it makes it pop out, right?
Yep.
It looks a lot more three-dimensional.
Like shadow.
Yeah, so if you can see the difference between these two.
Okay, question for you, Robbie.
Yeah.
Could you have created the one on the right without having created the one on the
No.
left first?
I mean, I learned a lot of things by
Right.
doing this one.
Right.
That I then applied to this one.
And which do you like better?
I really like this one a lot
Yeah,
better.
yeah, I do too.
So I have to finish putting in some more stars on this one.
I
but
love it.
Other than that, I think it's pretty close to done. I do think that that there are too many stars on this one. I think that the spacing.
I
of
agree.
this,
I agree.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think sometimes, when you're right up in a painting,
Yeah.
you sort of
Yep.
get a little too close, and that's why you need to back up sometimes.
But is that another thing you learned by doing that?
That's another thing
Yeah.
I learned, mostly because
Yeah.
you guys, I literally did this I finished 5 minutes before the show started.
Yeah.
So I didn't have time to finish putting in all the stars that I
Yeah.
wanted to. But now that I look at it, I
Yeah.
actually much prefer
Yeah.
the stars being farther apart.
And now that you've drawn this more finished version that you like, do you
Yeah.
feel like you need a planet or a moon or something like that?
don't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it might take away the outer spacey sort of feelingness of it.
Yep.
Right?
Cool.
So a couple things that I learned or was reminded of is that shadows are super important. Oh, you know what's something interesting, and I wish that I could remember where I heard this from.
What?
It was an astronaut who was doing a spacewalk, and I don't remember if I heard it on a podcast or if anyway, I can't source it, so
Okay.
take it with a grain of salt. But in outer space, or when he was in space, this person doing the spacewalk, he had to do some repairs onto the space station, maybe onto whatever thing that he was on. So he had to go out of the vehicle in his spacesuit. And because of the way that light works in space, there's no ambient light. So on the planet, light reflects off of a bunch of stuff. And so even when you think you're in pitch black, you can still kind of see stuff because there's a little bit of leaky light coming
Or
from somewhere.
when you're in a shadow.
Right, when
there's
you're in a
still
shadow,
some light
there's
creeping
still
around.
some light
Right.
creeping around, right? In space, if something goes into a shadow, it looks like he was like, it was crazy because I reached for something and it looked like my arm was cut off.
Interesting.
It looked like I couldn't see
Because
that
the
my
only
arm
light source is the
is
sun.
the sun.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there's nothing for it to bounce off
There's nothing
of.
for it to bounce off of.
That's
so
fascinating,
he
yeah.
said that it was incredibly disconcerting. The other thing he said was that because the whatever thing he was in was a satellite, so it's moving. I can't remember if it's moving at a different rate than the Earth is moving, and so he could see. So the Earth is actually spinning beneath him, and he was like, that was not something I was prepared for when I went out to have this sense of like everything rushing by.
Oh.
And he was like trying to do things, and he had to like really focus on what he was doing because if he looked down, it was like, it's like everything was moving.
I would not thrive in space. That is the
mean,
thing I know about
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Robbie, thank
anyway,
you for that poorly sourced and spotty anecdote that
perhaps
was nevertheless interesting.
Completely made up. But that was the thing that I thought of with these shadows. If I could just leave the shadows, the blank black of the page, it will make them really stark and really strong.
Cool.
So,
I would like to point out that you have a lot of love for your illustration.
oh, thank you, guys.
But that somebody liked the original illustration best.
Well, that's fine.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, right?
Maybe I'll send that to somebody.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to see what our friends
Yes, you guys
sent
really
to us this week.
pulled through on the space research. I feel like,
Uh-oh.
perhaps because space is so big,
Oh.
we got some serious space research.
I have not even looked at your research, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to see
Okay.
what we got. So we're starting with Abby.
So we're starting with Abby,
Space.
who did a great job adding some extra texture. With all the
Nice
space
job,
factor.
Abby.
Okay, so
Okay.
Abby literally wrote a research paper. So there's tons of stuff she wrote about each of the planets. I'm not going to redo the whole thing.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out some of the things that I thought were incredibly interesting.
Okay.
So, Uranus is the only planet that spins on its side. What is it doing? Why would it spin on its side? What makes the planets spin in the directions that they spin? Because Uranus also spins in the opposite direction that the Earth spins, and most of the other planets spin.
Okay, so this, Robbie,
Yeah.
may I offer that
Yeah.
if you were a planet, you would spin on your side and you would spin in the opposite
I
direction.
would, but just to
Just
sort
to
of
spite everyone
defy
else.
everyone else.
And that's what Uranus is doing.
right.
Everyone, there's got to be a Robbie planet that follows no rules and just does her own thing. I think Uranus should be admired in the same way that you are admired for tooting your own... tooting to your own horn? What a marching
you don't
to your
want to
own...
talk about Uranus tooting anything. All right?
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, but I want to point out that Robbie made that joke and not me.
I know.
Okay.
It was getting a little too easy.
All right.
Also, it's surrounded by a set of 13 rings. I didn't know that. I thought Saturn was the only planet with rings, and apparently we'll learn that there are other planets with rings. Okay, so one of the interesting things that Abby learned was that because of the way the planets spin and the way that they go around the sun, they have different lengths of days and years.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, look at this.
So a day is how long it takes for a planet to spin one time.
Right.
Right? And a year is how long it takes it to go all the way around the sun.
Oh,
right?
And it takes so much longer because it's so much farther from the sun than Earth. Is that right?
Yes.
So it has a lot has more room to travel. Does it go the same speed as Earth, I wonder? But it just has farther to go?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder.
So 1 year on Uranus is the same as 84 years on Earth. It takes 84 years to go all the way around the sun.
Wow.
But 1 day
is
only 17 hours.
Interesting.
Because it's spinning a little bit faster than the Earth, right?
Interesting. Yep, it looks like it.
Okay, so I thought that was interesting. Mars is cold. We actually know a lot more about Mars than we do about the other planets because of the rover mission.
Okay.
There's evidence that there was liquid on Mars.
Okay.
But nobody really...
And scientists speculate that there may or may not have been life on Mars. Yeah.
Yes. They also want to know whether there can be life on there in the future because we're ruining our planet.
We could put Robbie on Mars. I bet she'd be
I would
just...
hate it, you guys. You guys, I admire people who like space. I don't ever want to go there.
I like space, but I don't want to go there.
I consider myself an adventurous person. I do not. I have no interest in going to space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Space volcanoes.
What?
This is the thing that was so interesting.
Okay.
So NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft took some pictures in 1979 of Io, which is a planet of...
It's a moon.
It's a moon of Jupiter.
Okay.
And the pictures showed an eruption into space. So they realized that Io has volcanoes and that they're active. So it was the first time an erupting volcano had been found anywhere besides Earth.
You go, Io.
Yes.
Nice
so
work.
That's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
But it turns out that there are volcanoes all around our solar system.
Cool.
So
Cool.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
thought that was cool. Why is Pluto not a planet?
Oh, can I take this one?
Yeah.
Pluto is categorized as a dwarf planet, guys. In 2006, Pluto was categorized with 3 other objects in the solar system that are about the same size as Pluto. Ceres, Make,
Or is it Maki?
Maki, and Eris. These objects, along with Pluto, are much smaller than the other planets. Poor Pluto.
This is my question.
I mean, Pluto was a planet for a while and then stopped being a planet.
But this is my question.
What?
Is planetness strictly a matter of size?
I bet not. I bet it has to do with its behaviors as well. That's my guess. We have a book that was given to us by Simon and Everett's dad years ago.
We're supposed to learn about space.
That he said is fascinating and that I should read, and I will. And then I should give it back to him because he gave it to me like 6 years ago.
All right.
Sorry.
Saturn.
Okay.
This is funny. When Galileo saw Saturn through a telescope in the 1600s, Galileo was a great inventor. We should have covered him in Inventor Week. He wasn't sure what he was seeing. At first, he thought he was seeing 3 planets, or a planet with handles.
Handles, like a lunchbox.
It had been a planet with handles.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I hope that somebody will someday draw Galileo looking through a telescope at a planet with handles.
Okay. Please do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Abby went all out.
Right?
Wow. Abby, you've already done high school. You don't have to even worry about that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about Earth. This is also sciencey. I couldn't cover it. But here we go. Mercury. So Mercury is smaller than the Earth.
Yeah.
It takes 59 Earth years to make one full rotation around
Earth days.
Oh, Earth days to make one full rotation around the sun.
Yeah.
I think because it's closer, so it has a smaller loop, right?
Yeah.
So a year on Mercury goes by really fast. It completes a revolution around the sun. Oh, no, see? Mercury takes 59 Earth days to make one full rotation. It spins really slowly. It takes 88 Earth days to go around and be a year, right? So On Mercury, a day is 59 days long, and a year is 88 days long.
That's crazy.
Right?
And counterintuitive. And that's just how it is with Mercury, you guys.
For us, the sun rises and sets each and every day. Because Mercury has a slow spin in a short year, it takes a long time for the sun to rise and set there.
Wow.
Mercury only has one sunrise every 180 Earth days.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird? There was a short story.
It's how quickly you move through space,
Yes,
and it's how quickly
and
you
how
turn.
you're spinning around.
And that determines the length of your years and your days, and they can be completely backwards if you're on Mercury.
There was a short story that I read in middle school.
Yeah.
It was called All Summer in a Day.
Yeah.
And
I've heard
it was
of that.
about living on another planet. I think it was Venus.
Oh.
Where the entire season of summer happened in one day because of the way
cool.
that
That's cool. The opposite on poor old Mercury.
Yeah,
Okay.
wow.
All right.
Okay, so Neptune has 6 rings, but they're hard to see.
Yeah.
See, another planet with rings. Jupiter's the biggest planet in our solar system. It's similar to a star, but it never got big enough to start burning.
Poor Jupiter. It had aspirations of being a star.
But is it good to burn?
It's like Jupiter went to Hollywood and it's like, I'm here, you guys. I want to light up the sky. And they're like, Jupiter, you're too cold. Just go be big in the sky. You're not a real star. That's sad.
That is sad, right?
That's super sad.
Jupiter is a gas giant, so it doesn't have a solid surface. It's just a giant ball.
Don't
of gas.
try to walk on Jupiter.
No. But it says that it might have a solid inner core about the size of Earth.
Oh.
So maybe it's just a tiny planet covered with a lot of gas.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Jupiter also has rings. So all of these planets have rings, and I didn't know about it.
Saturn's rings are the most conspicuous. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
It's so hot on Venus, metals like lead would be puddles of melted
So
liquid.
maybe it's a bad idea to go to Venus.
It takes 243 Earth days to spin around just once. But because it's so close to the sun, a year by goes fast. It takes 225 Earth days for Venus to go all the way around the sun. Wow. Since the day and the year lengths are similar, one day on Venus is not like a day on Earth. Here the sun rises and sets once a day, but on Venus, the sun rises every 117 Earth days. That means the sun rises 2 times during each year on Venus, even though it's still the same day on Venus. And because Venus rotates backwards, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. I'm glad that I live on one planet with one set of rules in relation to the sun. It would be too confusing otherwise.
Yes.
Can you imagine how disorienting that would be?
Yes.
All right. Wow.
Thank you for citing
Abby,
your sources, Abby.
3 cheers. I learned things about space that I
Right?
did not know. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Oh.
Jennifer is proud of you.
We
Oh.
don't want to skip that slide.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank
and
you.
we got a new fan club logo. Look at this.
Woohoo!
We've got music, art, and fun.
All right, you
And then a
guys.
bunch of cute, adorable animals
Some
back
magnets.
there, right?
And, oh. Thank you,
done.
Abby. We feel seen.
Loved
We feel loved.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
All right,
next.
let's do some more.
Space Race.
Space Race by Principal
Ella
Ella Schaefer.
Okay, so here we go. What was the Space Race? Go ahead, Matthew.
The space race started in 1950s after the Cold War turned the United States and the Soviet Union into enemies.
Okay, hold on. The Cold War was not an actual war of fighting with guns.
It was
called the Cold War because there was no actual
there was tension.
war.
There was intrigue.
There was just
there was
like
hostility.
icy, angry stares
Yeah.
across the room at each other. So it was kind of like
There was threat.
There's a little bit of Moxie and the Dubliners happening.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Both nations wanted to prove they had the best technology and ideology. Ideology is sort of your way of thinking about things. NASA was created in 1958 as the federal agency that did development of civilian aerospace. Since the Soviet Union was so successful at the beginning of the space race, U.S. culture and defense was greatly affected. All right, so we felt like we had to keep up,
We
it
were
sounds
just
like.
trying to show up the Russians. That's what
Are we
going to
watch this
about.
video? Ella said it's worth watching. She said it's
Oh.
4 minutes long, but it does a good job of talking about the space race. Are we gonna do it?
Okay, hold
All
on.
right,
4
you
minutes
guys.
long. Do we have 4 minutes?
Settle. Well, you know better than I do how much research there is to cover, so you tell me. All right, here is the space race, you guys. We're gonna learn stuff.
The Cold War saw a competition between the world's 2 great powers, the Democratic Capitalist United States and the Communist Soviet Union. Both sides would fight to have the best technology in space, and who could achieve the firsts. As World War II was coming to an end, the Americans and the Soviets captured Germany's rocket engineers and their rocket technology.
Wait a minute.
What?
V2.
Wait a minute.
What?
Hold on.
They stole Germany's technology?
Seriously, we're having a Cold War over who's better at technology, and to do that, we have to steal the Germans' information? I feel like that's pretty...
Robbie, are you
Pretty
feeling outraged?
cheap.
All right,
Yeah.
this video's gonna take longer if
Oh
you
my
have
gosh.
commentary. Come on, here we go. Here we go.
I'm offended on behalf of the Germans.
Here we
here.
go.
Recruitment of particular value for the Americans was the rocket engineer Werner von Braun, who would lead the U.S. program. The Soviets, meanwhile, would recruit Ukraine-born Sergei Korolev to lead the Soviet space program.
Come on, we can't find our own people to help us out.
Robbie, it is an
If
open
you're having a
world.
nationalistic argument,
We draw-
shouldn't you draw from your
We
own
draw
nation?
on many resources. This is the beauty of immigration and sharing ideas
All right,
and
all right.
embracing different cultural approaches to scientific problems. Come on, Robbie.
All right.
Open thy mind.
In 1955, both countries announced that they would be launching satellites into orbit. The Soviet Russians took the lead by becoming the first to put a successful satellite into orbit when they launched Sputnik 1 on October 4th, 1957.
I bet that really got our
Oh,
vote.
we were like, oh.
Fortunately for the Americans, their successful launch of their first satellite, Explorer 1, would come a whole 4 months later. Next
4
would
months
come
isn't bad,
another
guys.
remarkable achievement, and it would go again to the Soviets. The first man in space.
Ooh.
In April 1961, cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first person to orbit the Earth, traveling in the spacecraft Vostok 1. When he came back to Earth, Gagarin became a hero of the Soviet Union and a celebrity worldwide.
Yes, he should.
The lagging U.S. launched the Freedom 7 3 weeks later.
Really tough
and
on
astronaut
ourselves.
Alan Shepard became the first American in space.
3 weeks later.
I know. I
The
mean,
Americans were embarrassed at being behind the Soviet Union, and on May 25th,
I mean-
1961, President John F. Kennedy made a bold claim to Congress that America would be the first to land a man on the moon, and they would do it before the end of the decade. The Apollo program was launched. Meanwhile, in February 1962, John Glenn became the first American to orbit Earth. And on June 16th, 1963, Soviet cosmonaut
The Soviet
Valentina
vehicles
Tereshkova became the
look
first
very
woman
different.
to travel into space. NASA
They're all
now
spidery,
has
and
increased
ours are
its
like
budget
rockety.
to achieve its daunting goal of putting America on the moon first, and by the end of the decade. As well as the Apollo program, it launched the Gemini program, which would develop the technology needed for the former. Gemini would see the first American, Ed White, to walk in space.
Ooh.
Although the Soviets achieved the first when Alexei Leonov achieved a spacewalk for 12 minutes
Look,
and 9 seconds
he's totally
a few months
gloating.
before.
He's gloating.
And
well,
Gemini would also see the first docking of 2 spacecraft together
Oh.
in Earth's orbit.
Oh.
After many
That seems
test
like it would be
flights,
hard to do.
training, and experiments, the Apollo 11 spacecraft was launched into space on July 16th.
She's cutting it close on that decade
1969.
thing.
On board were U.S. astronauts
They look like Lego
Neil
guys.
Armstrong, Edwin Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. It was not smooth sailing.
Oh.
Malfunctions came up, and the lunar module named the Eagle had to be landed manually.
Oh.
On July
didn't know
20th,
that.
1969, the Eagle had landed on the moon surface.
Oh, so that's
Neil
where the
Armstrong
Eagle
has
was
landed?
outside, becoming the first man to walk on the moon.
Wow.
He would say those famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind."
Nice.
By landing on the moon first, and with Soviet lunar landing attempts failing between 1969 and 1972, America had won the space race.
Well,
Hold
that
on.
piece of the space
Hold
race.
on.
Robbie, you don't want to offend Robbie's sense of moral indignation. All right, I'm going to make an executive decision to end
Yes.
this video now because Robbie is getting
I'm
too
getting a little hot
mad.
under the collar.
Robbie is all about fairness. Wait, do we have time for someone else's research before the
Yes.
program ends? Okay, let's see a new one. Thank you, Principal Schaefer. Or is there
You
more?
see
Is there more
why
to
I'm
Principal
getting-
Schaefer?
I think
Yeah.
there's a little more.
Okay.
First of all, I like this illustration.
I do too.
I don't know if
It's not a Principal Schaefer
no,
illustration.
but it's
okay.
a rad illustration.
Okay, all right.
That's everybody trying to race to the moon with all of their rockets in full glory.
Yeah, look at all those rockets. All right, what's next?
Carl Sagan.
Oh,
A quote from Carl Sagan.
every one of us, in the cosmic perspective, is precious. If a human disagrees with you, let him live. In 100 billion galaxies, you will not find another. You will not find a what? Another what?
Another human who disagrees with you in that way, I guess.
All right.
Thank goodness.
All right. Maybe another person like that person.
I
Maybe
think
that person is
that's
completely
the point.
unique.
The person is
cosmos.
super unique.
The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself.
I like that.
This is some philosophical
I
stuff.
like that
Yeah.
philosophical stuff. That
We're-
we're all made of space matter.
Well, we're made of the same stuff that Jupiter's made out
Yeah,
of, right?
yeah.
So I mean, we're just a different kind of.
Yeah.
Robbie, I think of myself as a planet with handles. That's if here, go ahead, just grab it.
I don't wanna touch
No,
it.
it's dry now. Just grab it. Grab it. See?
A planet with
Yeah,
handles.
I'm a planet with handles too.
All
right.
I'm a sideways spinning planet that spins backwards and gets angry.
Rob, indignant is the
yes.
better emotion here.
I'm still sort of trying to parse. If a human disagrees with you, let him live. What a weird thing to say.
As opposed to killing him on the spot?
Was he speaking to a crowd
I don't know.
of murderers?
I don't know. Okay. All right.
I think Carl Sagan is
a peaceful dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look at him. He's so cheerful.
I know.
All right.
All right.
Is there any more to Principal Schaefer's research?
And
her resources.
Sorry, we have to cite
we
your
have to
sources.
show them. Jennifer, have a
Yes.
look
Yep.
at the... what's that?
Wait, I pushed the wrong button.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
There we go.
Thank
There's the
you,
sources.
Principal Schaefer.
Thank you, Principal Schaefer.
Thank
well
you,
done.
Jennifer, for getting us all on this source citing bender here.
All right. Now, I'm going to zip through these.
Okay.
Because mostly so Simon sent us all of these different spacecraft.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool to see.
All right, 3-minute countdown, Robbie.
Look, I want you all to notice.
Wow.
So we've got Russian, we've got USA, we've got space shuttles, whatever.
That's International Space Station. Yeah.
So that's Russia, Japan, and 12 others. And look, they have those big solar panels on them. But what I think is so interesting is look at all of the different shapes people came up with to make something that works in space, right? There's these things with like the Voyager. What the heck? It has these long, spindly legs. It's got a big dish on it, and it's got the solar panels. But what's amazing to me is that, like, when you're starting from scratch, there's nobody who says, "Well, this is what the Mars rover is supposed to look like." You kind of have to come up with it on your own. And I bet that there were probably a million different versions that they thought of that looked nothing like these. And somebody eventually, they sort of...
Do you know what these are? These are solutions to a problem.
Yes.
They said, what does the terrain of Mars look like? What challenges will it present? What engineering solutions will we have to come up with to combat those challenges? That's all it is.
Right.
Anything that is built is a solution to a problem.
And that there are sometimes many different solutions to the same problem. So here's rockets. We've got rockets like this. Those are Soviet rockets. These are U.S. rockets. You know, we got a long spindly part on the top. We got big jets on the bottom. I just think it's super interesting that there's so many different... Look, that's 3 in a row. They were like, we got to get them up there. We got to put a bunch of rockets on this rocket.
But the rockets all have one major thing in common. They are long, narrow columns, yes, that are meant to have maximum propulsion and minimum air drag, is my guess there. Yeah.
Well, you know what's so interesting to me, too, about the rockets?
What?
Is that the rocket is just there to get the thing on the nose tip up into space.
Really?
So it goes...
The rest
and then it breaks off and we're like, see you later, nice job. We don't need you anymore.
Okay, friends.
Yes.
It's time to go.
Oh my
we will
God.
see you on the other side, by which I mean on the Real McCoys cast in just a moment.
I'm going to calm myself down about the Cold War, okay?
I guess we're not going to read any Real McCoys today. We have so much research to cover. All right?
I don't think we have that much.
We don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll read some Real McCoys.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
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 Oh, bye. Bye.
Ooh. Do you have Jennifer's thing?